I've been married to my second husband, Mike, for 4 years. He's a jokester and loves to crack jokes all the time. He especially likes to joke with my brother Ethan and his wife. Ethan used to be okay with it till he started complaining about Mike taking it too far with his jokes. Some context about Ethan. He and his wife couldn't have kids, so they adopted a boy, Joey, 2 years ago. Mike has been making silly, light-hearted jokes involving Joey's bio-parents to mess with Ethan and his wife. I already talked to Mike, and I tell you that he 100% means no harm and he was just trying to get them to react. So, fast forward to New Year's Eve. My parents hosted a big celebratory dinner and Ethan and his wife came. While we were eating dinner, Mike decided to tell a knock-knock joke to Ethan. He said, "Knock-knock." Ethan laughed and said, "Who's there?" Mike replied, "Joey's bio-parents," and then he busted out laughing. Silence took over and Ethan's facial expressions changed. His wife called Mike an idiot, to which Mike replied with, "Hey, relax, it was just a joke." An argument ensued and dinner was paused. My parents suddenly told Mike to leave, which I thought was too harsh. I tried to speak to them and get them to calm down, but Mom insisted that Mike leave. We left and Mike was complaining the whole time about how they overreacted. I called Mom later and she told me Mike was out of line with his hurtful jokes about this touchy topic and told me I was wrong for defending him and saying he was just joking. She said he ruined New Year for the family, but I told her it was she and Dad who ruined the celebration by escalating the situation and kicking him out. I told her he could talk to them, but again they were the ones who ruined the New Year's celebration. She called me delusional for this statement and hung up. We haven't talked to them for days. I tried contacting Ethan, but no response. Am I the idiot? Knock knock. Who's there? Mike is an idiot. Screw Mike. Wow, I don't know if I've read such an out-of-touch story ever. You are the idiot and so is your husband. Mike has been making silly, light-hearted jokes involving Joey's bio-parents to mess with Ethan and his wife. What the actual fudge? That is terrible. Teasing an infertile couple about their adopted child's bio-parents. I am mortified. He 100% means no harm and he was just trying to get them to react. The reaction is hurt. That's the reaction he's trying to get. Hurt. If it's not hurt, it's frustration or annoyance. It's crappy to purposefully make people feel hurt, frustrated, or annoyed for your own amusement. Toying with people's emotions is harmful. Think, OP, your husband likes to hurt people. It's nothing to do with jokes. Yeah, which part of this joke am I supposed to be laughing at? The part that mocks Ethan for not being able to have kids of his own? The part which your nephew heard may terrify him, thinking that he may get taken away by his bio-parents from the family he feels safe and secure at? Mike is lucky Ethan didn't knock him the heck out. He deserves it. Thankfully, OP's parents have Ethan and his wife's backs. Geez, OP, you also don't sound too smart. Is your husband like 13 years old? He has the emotional maturity of a 13-year-old bully whose defense is always, "But I was just joking." Seriously. Explain this joke to me and tell me what part is so hilarious. Honestly, I think your family should ban Mike from any further family gatherings until he apologizes profusely and gets therapy. You sound like you need it too. Cruelty ain't a good look. She married someone who probably does already poke at her greatest insecurities. She's learned not to react to appease her husband and probably feels like if she can learn to shove her hurt and shame down deep, then so should everyone else. Everyone must do whatever they can to not hurt the feelings of the person who is just joking. I wish I could just say time for a third husband, but since you're defending him, you deserve each other. My son is getting married to a wonderful woman. We've loved her since the first day we met her. She was very nice and polite and very good with my granddaughter. My granddaughter is a teen and she never got along with my son's partners, so it's nice to see the amazing relationship between her and her future stepmom. We were all talking and the wedding came up. We asked them what they were planning to do and they told us they couldn't afford their dream wedding and honeymoon, so they were trying to decide which one to choose. I offered that they could do both and I'll pay half the price. My other son asked me why I'm paying for their wedding when I didn't pay for his. I told him that I didn't like his wife and he knew it. She has been very cold towards us since the first day we met, and she hardly ever speaks to us. I can't be expected to pay for a wedding I don't approve of. He said I'm showing favoritism. I told him I was not. I didn't pay for his brother's first wedding either, so in order not to show favoritism, I was willing to pay for his next wedding. He blew up at me and called me an idiot and left. Son, in order not to show favoritism, I'm willing to pay for your next wedding. Oh damn, that hurt me and I'm not your son, LOL. You are the idiot for saying that, but the petty in me respects that shade, LOL. Yeah, I just spit coffee across my table. Touché, well played. OP is totally the idiot, but I can appreciate a good snide remark. Savage. Gee, I wonder why OP doesn't get along with most of their children's partners. Oh wow, OP, you sound like King Lear, handing out cash to the kids that kiss your butt the most. This isn't about your son's wives, it's about your sons. If you're prepared to treat them this differently over this, I'd bet money it's not the first time you've shown favoritism. No one is entitled to a gift, and demanding one does not look good for your other son. That said, you are showing extremely blatant favoritism towards one son, daughter-in-law over the others, which will destroy your relationship with those you deem lesser. That makes you the idiot here. You don't get to pretend to be surprised when you treat someone like that and they have a bad reaction. She is doing daughter-in-law a favour by being so open about her nastiness. It'll be much easier for daughter-in-law to stand up for herself and for the son to agree to limit or refuse time at his mom's after this, I imagine. It's much harder when the mother-in-law hides her true colours when her child is watching. I truly hope your least favourite son will cut you out of his life. I, 28 female, have been married to my husband Mark, 30, for 7 years, together for 10. He came from a large family and decided early to celebrate Christmas with them. The past 9 Christmases I've spent with him and my in-laws. I'm very big on Christmas presents. I enjoy choosing the perfect gifts that will suit the person, and as both of us earn a decent wage, we normally spend a good amount on the perfect present. So, for the past 9 years, I've spent considerable money and time choosing the perfect presents for my in-laws. They always enjoyed them, however, when it was my turn to receive their presents, they always got me something really small and sometimes insulting. Over the years, I got cheap socks, under $2, with the receipt still attached, clearly opened and used man shower gel, discount codes for fast food meals, numerous £5 gift cards for different places where I don't even go to, one at a time, some presents I got them for other holidays that were clearly used beforehand, some weird knockoff clothes ordered from places like Wish, which are tearing apart and might only fit a child, and so on. In his family, there's a tradition that a different person opens all their gifts every year. This year it was supposed to be me, so I did my normal shopping and decided to also get small cheap presents too for my in-laws. I've packed both sets of presents in different boxes and put the main ones under their tree. The plan was to swap them for cheaper ones if I got the same presents again as in previous years. And of course I get used stuff again and a gift card for £5 to a local supermarket. So I swapped the presents right in front of them. When they opened them, they got insulted and started having a go at me for swapping the presents and demanded the proper ones, which I refused to give back and explain my reasoning, which they found stupid. Now, I want to point out that my in-laws are not struggling, and previously, they gifted their teen daughter's boyfriend a console when they'd been together for 3 months, and everyone else got significantly better gifts than me, even if I was in their family longer. Christmas ended early and we had to leave. My in-laws are calling me an idiot. Mark is trying to stay out of it, but he has said I shouldn't have done what I did. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot, they had it coming. But bruh, it took you 9 years to finally do something about it. Just go with cheap stuff from then on. In fact, re-gift them the stuff they give to you each year. I was going to say that you're the idiot because gifts are not transactional, but holy moly, your in-laws suck. I love that you stood up for yourself. They clearly carry some weird grudge against you, and to be honest, if your husband doesn't see a problem with the gifts they give you, not a good look. So I swapped the presents right in front of them. Christmas ended early and we had to leave. This is why I will say everyone's the idiot here. These revenge stories just seem so draining. Imagine being an innocent family member or a +1 attending one of these holiday party crap shows. I'd be angry. The in-laws are idiots, but OP already knew what to expect. Why not just give them crap presents from the jump or decline to attend and have a peaceful holiday at home? The show and dance of swapping the gifts in front of them, at someone else's house no less, came across as tacky and was always going to ignite a fight. OP may have gotten their revenge, but was it really worth it? OP, you've got bigger problems than Christmas gifts. Yeah, your in-laws are jerks, but your husband is the real problem here. He should have stood up for you years ago and intervened with his parents about why they're demeaning you by giving only your crappy gifts. And in front of everyone, too. So mean and disrespectful. And what's up with your husband demanding that every Christmas is with his family? Do you get a say in any of this? I'd be having some intense conversations with my husband about boundaries, loyalty to the marriage, and respect. Yep, OP's husband is the biggest problem here. He should have had a stern talk with his parents the first time this happened. OP shouldn't have had to deal with it at all. Instead, he's let his parents treat her like dirt for 9 years and then tells her she shouldn't have stood up for herself. It's time for her to talk seriously with her husband. My wife and I have been married for 3 years. Since we met, I've gone with her to a holiday party hosted by her and her best friend. It's a fairly large party that grows every year. This year I didn't attend. My wife is still pretty upset about why I didn't. 2 days before the party, I was notified my ex-fiancé had passed. I didn't know the details, but it hit me very hard. To be honest, towards the end of things, we didn't have the best relationship, and I'll spare those details. She had issues and had relapsed, which heavily influenced the ending of our relationship. I went through a lot of grief leaving her in that state. Maybe it hit me because I felt like I didn't do enough to help her. In any case, I was pretty down and didn't feel like socializing, so I told my wife I was going to skip the party. When I was first notified, I told my wife, to which she said, "I'm sorry, are you okay?" I thought she would understand my reasoning, but she did not. She was quite offended. I was bothered enough about my ex that I wouldn't feel up to her party. After the party, she came home and said, "I can't believe you're this upset about some junkie." I was honestly taken aback by her cold, callous attitude. My ex was a daughter, a mother, and a sister. She was somebody that was messed up in life. I spent the next several days putting on a fake happy face and tried not thinking about my ex. Over the weekend, I had more calls about the details involving her death, which further upset me. My wife, noticing something was off with me, asked if I still loved her, and is that why I'm devastated? She said it's weird how I'm mourning the loss of my ex when I haven't had anything to do with her in years. I explained to my wife my ex was my first love, and I did love her as a person. Last night I told my wife I would be attending my ex's funeral and I'd like her to come if she wanted. She became angered by that, saying she didn't want to go near a junkie's funeral because the place would be full of people like her. This might be partially true, but I think I should be allowed to pay my last respects regardless. She told me if I ended up going, we're going to have problems. I don't know what she meant by that, but she threw in my face how this ruined our holiday and again stated she couldn't believe I missed her party because of my ex. She told me I needed to seek professional help because it's not normal for a married man to be upset about his ex dying. I began thinking maybe she was right. I don't know why I'm mourning her loss. I began asking myself if I still had feelings for my ex, but in my head I knew things were done. I wouldn't have married my wife if I felt things weren't finished with the previous relationship. I've practically stopped myself from grieving because I guess it shouldn't have mattered to me. I asked my wife if she'd be upset if her ex died, and she said that's different because she shares a child with him. Not the idiot. Sorry, but your wife is cold and callous. This is a very mean-spirited response to the death of someone you once loved and cared about. The fact that she was your ex-fiancé, who you had a love for, makes your wife even more of an idiot. I don't care that she was stuck in addiction. She was still a human who deserves to be mourned by those who loved her and remembered her, despite her flaws. Way to be jealous of a dead person. Sheesh, you're a good dude. A good, cool, compassionate dude. Please, don't change. For closure, I would suggest that you seek out grief counseling. Your wife needs to know that this is a long process. However, it seems like she might be desirous. Your wife feels like you settled for her when you really wanted to be with your ex, but you were rational enough to know things wouldn't work out. Seeing your grief and regret now is making her question your relationship. I get she is insensitive, throwing junkie around, but she is lashing out in hurt. You're the idiot for not seeing this. Are you worried you didn't do enough to save your ex? What would have been enough? Staying with her? You are endangering your marriage for someone you have long decided to break up with and who is tragically no longer here. You should probably research survivors' guilt and grief. I, 27 female, am the weird, quiet one in my family. Holidays growing up were mostly my brother and cousins running around and breaking things, while I got in trouble for trying to sneak off to read a book. So rude, pay attention to your family. Now my brother, 31, has 6 kids, and things are exactly the same, just with even more kids and chaos than before. I moved back to my hometown for a job a few months ago. My brother and his wife insisted that I do Christmas at their house since I hadn't done the big family thing in 4 years. I thought I would just drop by, eat some food I didn't have to cook, and leave. When I got to their house, it wasn't just them there, but also 2 of our cousins and all of their kids, plus some friends I didn't know. Half the adults were already drinking, the kids were all hyped up because of Christmas, and the TV was turned way up. And of course, kids are kids, they want attention and hugs, and they want to show you what Santa brought them. It's normal, but I'm not normal, and the kids are going through a screeching phase, and the youngest likes to climb people like they're trees, so it was a lot. I tried a few times to take a break in the garage or upstairs guest bedroom, but I couldn't get more than 5 minutes alone before I either had kids following me or sister-in-law coming in and going, "Here's Auntie, we found her." The only place where no one followed me was the laundry room, where they had piled all the boxes and wrapping paper from the morning. So, for probably half an hour, I just sat on the floor like a happy little trash goblin. When I got back to the group, people were angry at me. My sister and cousins all say that as the only single adult there, it was my responsibility to watch the kids so the parents could get the day off. No one actually asked me to do this, they just assumed I would. My brother is offended that I would hide from his children. I was hiding from everyone. Even the oldest 2 kids were mad because they got roped into watching the younger ones when no one could find me. I do feel bad about this. Am I the idiot for hiding from my very noisy family? Not the idiot. Definitely nope, nope, nope. It was never and should never have been your responsibility to watch the kids. They should respect your boundaries as well, and if you don't want to listen to the kids screeching, you shouldn't have to. It sounds like you were invited not because they genuinely wanted you there as a loving family member, but because they wanted you to be the nanny. They expected you to babysit without ever asking, and you feel guilty? For future family events, I would strongly encourage you to figure out if you're being invited as a family member or employee. If you are being invited solely to do work, you should be fine with arranging more enjoyable ways to celebrate your holiday, e.g., "Sorry, I'm going to my friend's house. I don't feel like working on the holiday, but I'm sure you can find someone else to babysit the kids."